another life hack for the men. Y'all ready? Femininity tests. It is a way that we feel safe.
Fellas, the reason why women have to test you is because they don't understand you, because women lack empathy. Contrary to popular belief, the woman's weakness is her empathy. It is not the woman's strength. But in society today, we lie to everybody and we say that women have empathetic skills. They don't. Women have the ability to sympathize with themselves, and the sympathy that they have for others is a projection of the sympathy they have for themselves. 90% of the empathy you guys think come from women is actually sympathy projected. Sympathy encapsulates feelings such as compassion, remorse, pity, shame, guilt. It's the desire to protect yourself and the desire to provide excuses for the self, right? And when something triggers the sympathetic nervous system, so this can be when a woman sees another woman and someone is raising their voice to that woman, she is triggered because she is seeing herself in that woman, and that provides her with the motivation to provide excuses for that woman and protect that woman. It is all a projection. She's only thinking about herself. The sympathetic individual can only think about themselves. They are unable to put their thoughts, feelings, and motivations to the side in order to immerse themselves into the thought, feelings, and motivations of another person. So when women are dealing with men, because they have no ability to empathize with the man, because they have no ability to understand the man, the woman has no ability to actually influence the man. So because the woman is unable to understand the man or understand how her actions are affecting the man, she tests you to find out what she can and can't do, what she can and can't get away with. Because the woman is so inwards, she is incompetent to the things happening outside of her. So she is reliant on your boundaries as a man, so she knows what she can and can't do, what she can and can't get away with. So the woman needs your boundaries to act right. The woman operates in her limbic system. She's not in her prefrontal cortex. This is a part of your brain associated with logic, reasoning, science, right? Strategy. Where she's not in this part of her brain, because she's in her limbic system, inwards, this means she's not in her prefrontal cortex. So she's unable to make accurate predictions of you. She's unable to make an accurate prediction of how she's coming across, because she's in her limbic system where she lies to herself. The limbic system is concerned with comfort and pleasure. Where she is lying to herself 24/7, she can't even trust her own thoughts, feelings, and motivations. So the woman knows that everything she does comes from a projection. So it's very, very likely that she will say you're doing something she's doing, right? Because she literally is incompetent to the things happening outside of her. She spends all of her time feeling sorry for herself. So that is the reason why the woman tests you. She can't empathize with you. She can't understand you. She can't influence you. She can't make accurate predictions. So all she can do is test you so she can figure out what she can and can't do, what she can and can't get away with, and she can kind of ascertain how she's feeling.
So now I'm really testing you to see how far will you let me disrespect you. But ultimately, what I want the most is my man to be a leader. So if you stop me from the beginning, I might be cussing you out in my mind, but secretly I love it. Secretly, I'm like, ooh, my baby, that's a man right there. That man took charge over me.
Women who are sympathetic by nature are attracted to empathy. Empathy is a masculine quality, guys. So women are looking for empathetic masculine men to save them from their emotional turmoil. But it's not easy to leave the limbic system and to come into prefrontal cortex. There's a whole bunch of things that the woman, she's going to have to accept. She's going to have to learn to accept herself. When she can accept herself, she can accept others. She's going to have to learn how to love herself. When she can love herself, she can love others. You know, she's going to have to learn how to understand herself. When she's able to understand herself, she'll be able to understand others. Sympathy is not about understanding the self. It's about feeling sorry for yourself. It's actually a very, very small category of emotions, right? And this is the reason why women can come across as being very, very cold. You know, but the truth is most women don't allow themselves to feel the full spectrum of emotions. They only allow themselves to feel pity and remorse. You know, protectionism of the self, right? This is the reason why women give bad advice, right? Because all of their advice, every time you come to a woman, she's just going to see the situation through her eyes, and her advice will always be a projection. Never go to a woman about another woman. She will always give you advice which is in the best interest of the woman, because she's unable to empathize with you. She's only able to sympathize with people she can see herself in. So she knows that other women are like her because women are homogenous, you know, so she can assume how this woman's going to go and be, and it's always from a sympathetic place, right? So this is the reason why women give horrible advice. This is the reason why women are so judgmental, right? Because what she can emotionally connect with is good, but what she can't emotionally connect with is bad. So women really see good and evil through their limbic system. What makes them feel good is good. What makes them feel bad is bad. This makes them come across as very judgmental, right? And if you want warmth from a woman, but if the woman can't see herself in you or can't emotionally connect with your situation, you won't feel warmth. You won't feel acceptance. Actually, you'll feel her rejection, right? Because when a woman can't empathize, she can either sympathize with you or not. The woman can't offer you understanding. Okay, cool. So bad advice. Also, if you guys have noticed this, for the majority of women, in the form of support, the only support the majority of women can give you is pity. Think about it. You know, back in the day when you used to ask your mum for money, and she always used to make you beg for it. Same goes for your dad as well. Always make you beg for it. The reason why they need you to beg for it is because they need you to trigger pity within them before they can give you money. They need to emotionally react. Sympathetic people, including feminine men, do everything from an emotional reaction. So the only way that the only reason why your mum and your dad have to see you fucking beg for the money that you ask for is because they're not pitying you yet. And the only form of support the sympathetic individual can give is pity, right? And this makes them feel cold, because if you're a masculine man, then the sympathetic individuals can't support you. Right? Because you're not looking for judgment and you're not looking for pity. You're looking for understanding. Right? Cool. The only way that someone can give you good advice is if they're able to put their thoughts, feelings, and motivations to the side, so they can fully create a construct of your mind, of your thoughts, feelings, and motivations, and they can use their knowledge and their intellect to be able to, and the fact that they are not emotionally in your situation. The only way that you as a masculine man would ever go to someone for advice or support is if that you're in an emotional state and you can't think clearly. So if you're a masculine man, you know that women cannot offer you support. They can only offer you pity. They can only feel sorry for you, because that's the only feeling that they're used to feeling for themselves. Right? Okay. All right. So women are looking for leaders. They're looking to escape all of this. They're actually trapped in their limbic system. The walls that they've created for others are walls for their own selves. So they're hiding. They've got defense mechanisms. They use their ego wrong. They use their ego wrong. So women are looking for a man to save them from all of this. All of this is hell. This is what you call hell. As a man, when you was younger, you know about this. I know about this because when you're a little boy, you are like this, and you have to kind of grow out of that and turn into a man. Because as a man, you can't get by on life making projections. You will go nowhere. Society doesn't enable your bad behaviors, your entitlements, and your delusions. So they also don't enable you feeling sorry for yourself. So naturally, because no one gives a crap about you, both men and women don't care about you, You have to learn empathy in order for you to make accurate predictions of things. You need to garner an understanding so you can have mastery of things. So, for example, me, I'm a very, very empathetic person. I've never in my entire life had issues with women because I'm always 10, 20 steps ahead of them. And naturally, I will be 10, 20 steps ahead of them because my energy is an inward. I'm not thinking about myself. So when I'm dealing with a woman, I'm completely in her thoughts, feelings, motivations, in her ego, in her hubris, right? And she's in her ego, in her hubris and her thoughts, feelings, and motivations. So it makes it so easy for me to completely influence what outcome I want with her. I operate in the truth. She operates in untruths and lies, right? So literally, God, logic, truth, the science, objectivity, it's all on my side. Right? So the men who are unable to be successful with women is because you lack empathy yourself, guys. And when you lack empathy, you're feminine. Okay? If you're not spending your time understanding the self and understanding others so you can have mastery of the self and others, then you're spending your time judging yourself and judging others and accepting. You're spending your time feeling sorry for yourself. Right? And you can't feel sorry for yourself and make accurate predictions of how other people are feeling.
You're letting me know how I get to move and shake within your boundaries because you're the lines. We're the color. You got to teach me the color inside of the lines. So if you don't set that strong.
As a man, you've got one of two choices. You either enter the woman's world or the woman enters your world. If you're a man and you are not an empathetic man, you're not a masculine man, then your world is the same as her world. All right? For you men who are actually empathetic and masculine, right, then your choice is enter her world or she enters your world. When women are saying looking for a man to put her in her place, when women are saying they're looking for leaders, they are literally looking for men to take them out of her world to where she's suffering. It's experienced as a hell and go somewhere else, right? And that's preferably your world. But she's going to test you, and she's not going to make it easy to do so because she has to, because it's not an easy. She has to be able to trust that you are competent enough and you love her enough to stick through her in this journey. All right. The woman doesn't actually have any relationship skills. She doesn't. She doesn't have any relationship skills. Most of her life is facilitated by us making her believe that her delusions and her entitlements are real, that she's as special and as unique as she thinks she is. So she doesn't actually have any of the skills required to have a relationship, So if you enter her world, it's gonna require that you have 200% empathy to make up for her 0% empathy. If you enter into her world, it's going to require that you have 200% communication to make up for her 0% communication. If you enter into her world, it's going to require that you have 200% emotional availability to make up for her 0% emotional availability. Yeah, the individual who is afraid of everything, who has defense mechanisms and uses her ego as a defense mechanism, is not an emotional available person. All right? The individual who communicates indirectly and subcommunicates is not a good communicator. Right, the individual who doesn't understand men or things that she can't emotionally connect with is not an empathetic person. All right, so it's required for you as a man to have your boundaries and for you to be a man yourself and to have the levels of empathetic skills to see behind all of this and seduce her out of it, if you like her, that is, right? Empathy, if I give you some examples of it, so I'll put here, the sympathetic person's concerned with safety, the empathetic person's concerned with understanding, right? Sympathy is me, I, self. Empathy is you, them, they. When you've leveled up, sympathy is autonomous bodily reaction, all right? If you saw a dead body, your sympathetic nervous system will be triggered. If you see someone being harmed, your sympathetic nervous system will be triggered. If you are black or something like that, and you see something happen to another black person involving the police or something like that, your sympathetic, racism, your sympathetic nervous system would be triggered, So this is not a skill. This is a real skill. And when you learn this skill, you actually have the ability to make accurate observations of something and not see things through your eyes, your emotional eyes, right? You have the skills, the ability to have accurate and good perspective taking. This means you can take up different perspectives. The sympathetic person cannot do that. They actually can't do it. They've only got their perspective, and what they don't understand, they fear, they don't like, they reject. Cognitive empathy is the highest level of empathy. This is the ability to actually accurately understand how someone's feeling without emotionally connecting to them. So, for example, with me, I can honestly, very accurately tell how someone is emotionally feeling, to the point where I can kind of predict what they're going to say next and what they're going to go and do next, right? Without emotionally connecting to them, I have developed so much empathy. I do it for my brain. My mind can connect with someone emotionally, right? The empathetic person is curious. They're still curious. They're curious about life. The sympathetic person is closed off. They believe they have life figured out already, right? In order for you to be empathetic, you have to almost, and high levels of empathy, to where you can develop cognitive empathy and high levels of communication. You actually almost have to almost have a mastery of emotional regulation. This is the only way you can kind of be in this space, right? So when you meet with women, fellas, a single woman is not going to be emotionally regulated, guys. Please understand what I'm saying. Nothing I say come from a place of prejudice, man. Like, I'm telling you, a single woman is not going to be emotionally regulated. Most women are not emotionally regulated, right? So you need to be emotionally regulated to have empathy, and that's why it's a masculine trait. Yeah. Strategy. In order for you to strategize, what else have I got here? Right, yeah. The empathetic individual is always goal orientated. That's the reason why they're like this. They're actually working towards something. The sympathetic person is always feeling and comfort orientated. They're never working towards anything. Their whole life is about fucking feeling good or something. Guys, like, follow, leave a comment. I got to go somewhere. I'm in the whip. Like, follow, leave a comment, sign up for the one-on-one coaching.